So Rebecca Casey, correct?
I typically go by Becky.
That's what I
too.
thought. I saw that on some of your posts. We'll try to keep that in mind. I don't think Dr. Lockwood got some of our name preferences.
Okay. Yeah, the only person who's ever called me Rebecca was my high school guidance counselor, I think. And it fit for him, but not most people.
Okay, so where did you grow up?
I grew up in Wakefield, Massachusetts, which is about 15 minutes outside of Boston.
Okay, very neat. And where did you do your undergraduate degree?
I studied mechanical engineering with a concentration in aerospace engineering at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, which is in central Massachusetts. It's a small engineering school.
That's fantastic. What kind of drove you to that school and that degree?
Basically, when I was in high school, a few things influenced me toward that school and that degree, but I think even since I was a really little kid, I was kind of always like a space dork, like when I was really young, my dad took me to the Science Museum in Boston all the time, and always had me with a little telescope looking up at the stars and whatnot, so I think it was kind of in my blood all along. But in high school, my senior year is when 9/11 happened, and that kind of convinced me that I felt like I wanted to do something to give back and do something about it, and that's why I joined Air Force ROTC. So I needed to go to a college that they were offering me a scholarship in exchange for I do 4 years of service in the Air Force on active duty as an officer. So I needed to go to a school that had that program there, and that was one of them. That also had the mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering that I wanted to do, because I think in high school I was really into sciences, and I took every biology class like under the sun, and I got tired of it. And then I took some physics classes and realized like this is really cool, figuring out problems and solving them. So that's really kind of all that led me there.
That's really neat.
Story.
So you're currently an officer in the Air Force?
Yep, I'm a captain in the Air Force right now, and I did 4 years, or 4.5 years or so far. My first year in California, my next 3 years in Colorado, and then I just recently moved to the Washington, D.C. area.
What was your favorite thing about Colorado when you were there?
Definitely skiing. So, growing up in the Northeast, I had skied since I was pretty young, but not very often, maybe once a year. So when we got out to Colorado, it was a totally different experience, and we skied every other weekend, and mountains are way bigger, and snow was better, so I'll definitely miss that out here, the Central Atlantic region.
That's a very different skiing from what we have here on the East Coast, so that's very...
I may need to do a trip back there every now and then.
There you go. And did you meet your husband in the ROTC or in the Air Force? Or?
No, we went to college together, so he actually graduated 2 years before me from our college, and he went to work for a defense contractor who hired a lot of engineers from our school, and he was able to actually transfer out to Colorado once we knew I was getting assigned there and everything. So
well, that's good.
It's worked out well for us so far.
Yeah, that's great that that's worked out for you so far. So what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment so far?
Oh, that's a big question.
It is. It's huge. Sorry.
I would say that my greatest accomplishment isn't related to work, although, I've won a couple of awards and done, cool things at work. I work in space operations, so a lot of the things that I do have a lot of big impacts for supporting the warfighters overseas and whatnot. But personally, I think that one of my biggest impacts is last year I was involved with the Leukemia Lymphoma Society team in training, and my husband and I raised over $10,000 for leukemia and lymphoma research and whatnot. And in the team and training program, what you basically do is you train for either a marathon or a triathlon or a cycling race, and in exchange, they train you, and then in exchange you raise all this money for to fight blood cancers. So that's probably one of the things I'm honestly most proud of that I've done aside, outside of work and things.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, to raise that much money and kind of I know everyone hates this word, the economic, environment that we are in today.
Yeah.
Just to be able to raise that money is pretty amazing. And train at the same time. That's
it consumed my life for a good 5 or 6 months, but it was great, and it was for such a good cause. So.
Now, have you thought about a business venture that you're interested in? I mean, that maybe entrepreneurship with this degree would help you with?
I have, and for a few years now I've been coming up with these ideas, and I decided at some point to start to write them down, but they don't really have any theme or anything like that. I'm like, oh, it would be nice to open a wine bar, or oh, why don't I do this or that?
Well, that was pretty much it for my questions, so thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.